Okay, we're jumping into 2005 because this game was an interesting one-off title due to its circumstances. After we talk about this game, we'll go back to the Pierce Brosnan games and progress through Daniel Craig. I will also warn up front, this game's brightness fluctuates a lot! So, during recording, I had to change the brightness settings on both my TV and my capture card many times. 2005's From Russia with Love started as a Pierce Brosnan story, but this was the year Pierce Brosnan was fired as James Bond, and it's time for history class. Before we talk about the circumstances and actually use references like a English history paper, I will even show you a concept video dubbed Bond 2005 before Pierce Brosnan was fired. 'For more background on this situation, I turned to the book Some Kind of Hero, where it states, "I was in the Bahamas, working on a movie called After the Sunset, and my agents called me up and said negotiations have stopped. Barbara and Michael are not sure what they want to do. They'll call you next Thursday." I sat in Richard Harris's house in the Bahamas, in this old, faded mansion, where Barbara was on the line and Michael was on the line. And they said, "We are so sorry." She was crying, Michael was stoic, and said, "You were a great James Bond, thank you very much." And I said, "Thank you very much, goodbye." That was it. This was the story of how Pierce Brosnan lost his license to kill and got fucked over by his bosses in the process. That can be found on page 565 of the book. From this tragedy, another memorable Bond game was born. EA had the license, and as we all know now, EA wanted to make money. So they contacted Sean Connery and asked him to return and lend his voice to the character of James Bond. They wanted to bring a classic 007 movie into the video games, which was an awesome idea. Mostly personally, I loved Brosnan as Bond, if that wasn't already apparent. But this was a great idea. Bring back the old actors. We'd have so many Bond movies made into great games, or hell, even original Bond stories with the older actors. 2012's Legends didn't learn a damn thing, though. I got this particular game in 2005. I got it for Christmas on the GameCube with a Jimmy Neutron game and a SpongeBob game. So if you couldn't tell, I was very young. But I honestly just thought, awesome, more Bond, without thinking about the actor or the possibilities that this could mean for the franchise. But now that the intro is over, let's actually talk about EA's adaptation of a 42-year-old movie, which also happens to be my favorite Connery movie, From Russia with Love. I will be evaluating this as more of a video game because, 1, this movie is 42 years old at this point when they made it, and they wanted to attract their usual audience of casual Bond fans. And 2, it wasn't a tie-in to the film. because next time we'll be looking at Tomorrow Never Dies on the original PlayStation. That is a movie tie-in, only releasing 2 years after the film. This was 42 years in the making, so I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't follow the film to a T. If you don't have a save file on your memory card, the game launches you right into the first mission, starting like a Bond movie would, with the gun barrel. So the first mission is called London. Yeah, the first game's mission isn't the hedge maze like the start of the film, but it's an unrelated incident and it's used as a tutorial, which actually really works in this game. Bond is asked to attend a party to shadow a Prime Minister's daughter so she won't be kidnapped.
May I help you?
A dry martini. Shaken, not stout.
Certainly, Commander Bond.
Where is the girl?
Elizabeth Stark, the Prime Minister's youngest daughter. We received word half an hour ago there might be another kidnapping attempt.
Closer to home.
She doesn't appear concerned.
Why should she be, with 007 here to protect her?
She gets nabbed and the whole mission is trying to get her back. In this level, you see Bond walk out of his Aston Martin, which he gets in the next film, Goldfinger. He also uses a jetpack from the opening of Thunderball. Late in the game, you'll even see a place from another film, but we'll talk about that later.
Who are you?
The name is Bond. James Bond.
And after this mission, you get the opening credits again, just like a Bond film, set to an upbeat orchestration of Matt Monroe's title song.
This is an infiltration mission. Retrieve the documents hidden within the mansion at the far end of the hedge maze. Be careful. We believe you may have picked up a shadow.
Yay, the hedge maze! So, you get the opening of the movie in the hedge maze on, quote, Spectre Island, but here the organization is called Octopus, so fuck it. It's Spectre to me, and I'll just keep saying Spectre. Lawsuits be damned from 2005. The Bond impersonator dies, and the story is heavily explained, and it's easier to comprehend than the movie.
Time, Mr. Grant. You are indeed the killer I'm looking for.
When do I get to kill the real James Bond?
After he steals from the Russians their new Lector decoding machine.
And Bond is going to do it for us.
Which is good for them. The Russians have a decoding device called the Lector. Spectre wants it and wants to use MI6 to deliver it, and they want to kill Bond in the process because he killed Dr. No. After Grant throws the mask, you're in control of Bond in the MI6 headquarters. You can fully explore the floor that they, let you out on, and it's impressive for a 2005 licensed game.
And the bait is a brand new Lector, a Soviet decoder machine.
The CIA has been after one of those for years.
And so have we. When she contacted Kerim Bey, head of Station T in Turkey, she said she wanted to defect, and she'd turn over the Lector to us on one condition: that you went to Istanbul and brought her and the machine back to England.
You also get a training situation from Desmond Llewellyn, or look-alike, sound-alike of him. And Bond doesn't get his briefcase here, so you already know that the big ending fight with Grant is going to be altered for the game.
Congratulations, 007. Your training is complete. Now use this device to get yourself to Istanbul.
An airline ticket. How ingenious.
I expect you to return my equipment, along with the Lector device, in pristine condition.
I'll bring it back. From Russia with love.
Can I borrow a match?
Oh, I use a lighter
It's better still.
until they go wrong.
Welcome to Istanbul, Mr. Bond. Your transportation is here, sir.
James, my friend. How nice to see you.
Kerem Bey. It's been too long.
Istanbul number 1. Bond arrives in Istanbul and it's a really nice scene. In the film, Bond and Kerem don't know each other, but here, they're old friends, and I do like the dynamic for a video game. Also, when Bond gets out of the car in the first scene of the game, he gets out on the right. Here, the steering wheel is on the left. We're gonna go with it. You get a feel for the driving controls and they're not very good. Instead of the R button being used to accelerate, it's the A button like Mario Kart. So, how to think of this is like, instead of pressure sensitive pedals, which is, real driving and what the R button would be, Bond just kind of floors it every time you want to drive anywhere. And later I learned you can use the C stick to accelerate, but that just feels wonky and weird and I don't like it. Station T. This level is a big playground and I love it. Russians have stormed the building and taken prisoners, which seems to be the only reason Bond gives a shit.
They've rigged bombs to explode!
Have they taken hostages?
Yes, several.
I'm going in.
Bond has to disarm bombs, save hostages, and in any order you want. After you do that though, a helicopter comes in through a skylight, and this might be the best boss fight in the game just because of how much Bond the whole situation is. They dropped a helicopter into a building to try to kill you. Istanbul 2. Now it's nighttime. Bond and Kerem need to evade Russian patrols by blowing them up and wearing some disguises. They use their disguises to steal a Russian boat too. And that's the whole mission.
Splendid.
Underground. So Kerem and Bond drive under the Russian consulate through Constantine's old reservoirs. I died here because I couldn't see a goddamn thing. I had to turn up the brightness on my TV because I just saw rockets and bullets flying out of the darkness. But after they spy on a meeting of Russian higher-ups, Bond and Kerem catch wind that there's a raid going on at a gypsy camp. Kerem leaves because he has friends there. Bond steals the plans for the building, which Tatiana is supposed to steal in the movie, but I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. And Bond escapes through the reservoir with a jetpack that conveniently pops out of the ground when you remove the plans, like a trap, but it was a good trap.
Well, first of all, we need to take out that turret.
Gypsy Camp. It's actually a faithful recreation of the scene in the movie, for the most part. It's short, relatively confined to. The only real difference is Bond has to wear a gas mask to save hostages. The Russian Kirilenko tries killing Bond, Grant stops him, just like the movie.
Krylenko's hit! He's running!
But who shot him?
Let's not question our good fortune. Get his rifle and meet me in the tower. We'll make our final stand there.
Sniper Alley. Bond and Kerem track Kirilenko, and Bond has to get into position to cover Kerem's assault on the other guy's hideout. You know, Kirilenko. I feel weird saying it because I'm sure I'm just fucking it up. It's easier to use the lock-on and other weapons because sniping in this game is slippery and inconcise, just like driving. Kerem gets used to as a shield, and the Call Me Buana poster is still here. The mouth is still the window, and that's just an awesome detail, because I'm pretty sure nobody would have cared if they removed that. After this, Bond and Tatiana have their iconic scene from the film, only missing Sean Connery's hairy chest.
Thank you. But I think my mouth is too big.
No, it's the right size. For me, that is.
Consulate. Bond, Kerem, and Tatiana now have to make a break for the Lecter, and everyone wants it. It's a fun level. Lots of shooting and recon and run-of-the-mill action. You have to escort Tatiana like Ashley in Resident Evil 4, except Tatiana is even more useless. I'll talk about that later. Also, if you want to cheat the vault, shoot a rocket into the locks, breaks them all at once. Istanbul 3. After stealing the Lecter, Kerem takes a separate car from Bond and Tatiana. Bond has to destroy 30 cars in 10 minutes for the mission to progress. This part drags, and you can easily get stuck driving around looking for the next target for a handful of minutes. After that, you have to make it to the train while being tailed by these cars that just keep breaking the pace of driving, and it's annoying.
I borrow a match.
I use a lighter.
Better still.
Until they go wrong.
Hello, old man. I'm Captain Nash. M sent me. I've been working undercover in Yugoslavia.
Let's go. Meet me in the dining car this evening, and you can fill me in on the escape plan.
Alright, the train level. Kerem dies right out of the gate. Also, Bond is completely happy and going along with Grant, even though in the film he was skeptical of him, even being MI6. I know I said I wouldn't draw comparisons, but it just feels weird and Bond looks stupid. So after that, there's a new take on a close quarters fight in the film. I'm actually happy this wasn't made into a QuickTime event like Resident Evil 4 that year, because I've seen a lot of people say this should have been like one, but I'm happy just to watch it. I don't want to press buttons to make something happen. You also kind of properly meet Grant's second in command, played by Maria something. I don't want to fuck up her last name. I'm sure they threw her in because of GoldenEye. She seems a lot like a Spanish Xenia, and Grant seems more like Alec Trevelyan in this game than, Grant. But after the most annoying escort mission ever, not because she dies a lot, it's because her voice is so shrill and annoying, you fight Grant at the end, and there's a recreation of his line in the train car from the film.
It's brilliant.
The first bullet won't kill you, nor the second, not even the third. Not until you get over here and kiss my foot.
The first one won't kill you. Not the second. Not even the third. Not till you crawl over here and you kiss my foot.
And this fight is a joke. Keep comboing him and you really can't lose. Even on 00, it's too fucking easy. Factory. This isn't in the movie at all. So, Eva, yeah, that's her name. M tells you, that's Spanish Xenia's name. Takes the Lecter to a Spectre smuggling outpost. So, Bond bombs the place, flies around, fights a tank thing, and steals the Lecter back in style. The only real complaint I have about this mission is the last driving section. There are no enemies, just don't crash, I guess.
Jane!
James, there's a dock nearby. If you can get there, you can get out.
Tanya, into the car.
Border. This level really isn't very fun. First, the driving. And if you couldn't tell by now, the driving is painfully okay, but I think it's not as fun for long periods of time. And there are long periods of driving in this section of the game, specifically driving with jumps. And you have to fight helicopters and other cars. It's very tedious. Dropping the boat leads to some annoying encounters too, because look, I kept hurting myself on this one console because the game didn't let me know it was directly in front of me. Whatever! The last on-rail section is from the movie, kind of, but it's not as fun as it looks. It drags. It really drags.
Horrible woman.
Yes, she's had her kicks.
Horrible woman.
Yes, she's had her kicks.
Octopus Base. This is the quote true ending in the game. This mission is basically the Spectre volcano lair from You Only Live Twice. Bond blows it up. You fight Eva, she dies by herself, she just kind of crashes. Grant shows up again, and you fight his robot to death. This fight isn't too hard if you sit tight here and take out his guns before you engage him. You can start shooting at him, but odds are you're probably going to die before you can kill him. After that, Bond shoots Grant for Karam.
You're gonna shoot me in cold blood, old man. You don't have the guts. It's not the English way. It's like red wine with fish.
That was for Kerry.
Then we get a sort of classic Bond ending. It's not how the film ends, but I'll take it.
I'll let you know in the morning.
And that is From Russia with Love. So let's start with the positives. I loved having Connery back. Not an impersonator, not family, it's 100% grade A Connery.
I think the idea of returning to the original 1960s Bond series was something that the team had talked about for a long time, the fans talked about, that we kept hearing people wanting to see. But it really came together this year when we were able to contact and talk to Sean Connery, and he agreed to be a part of it. I mean, once you get him on board and he's helping you out, I mean, that's the start of a great game.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be playing James Bond again.
The game felt like a love letter to his movies as opposed to being, a direct telling of the From Russia with Love story. The gadgets and weapons were timely. There was nothing here that would make me go, that was more of a Roger Moore thing than Connery. The game is incredibly fun, lots of different scenarios to play through, and there are bonus levels for beating certain challenges. They're kind of lame, but they're pretty fun if you have time, because they can be pretty lengthy. The negatives. The brightness, like I said.
Return from Russia with love. I've seen.
Reloading was an issue during the game. There were multiple times I was yelling at the TV, "Reload your fucking gun!" because I kept pressing A and nothing happened.
You leave if you know what's good for you!
I used other remotes and they all had the same issue, so it's not my controller. I'm pretty sure this was a glitch in the game. Tatiana, just as a character, in the movie she's fine, she kind of drives the plot, but in the game all she does is complain. And she doesn't follow you like Ashley in Resident Evil 4. Like, it would be okay if she followed you like Ashley, but she just stays put and yells when she's getting shot at. Attaché cases. It was fun. I guess that there was another way to get research points and upgrade all of your crap. but I forgot these were here. I stacked them until the final mission because I forgot that I kept picking them up. So, in conclusion, from one Bond fan and a gamer to possibly another if you've made it this far in the video, if you have a GameCube, Xbox, or PlayStation 2 and you see this at a reasonable price, I definitely recommend it. I bought the PlayStation version at school last year because I found it for $3 and wondered how could it be different. Essentially, the only real difference is that the PlayStation's equivalent to the A button, the X button, is pressure sensitive, so I have a feeling the driving sections were made more for the PlayStation 2 in mind than the GameCube. It was also released on the PSP if you want to look for it there. Yeah, some content was cut to make it fit, but the game was actually really fun, and yeah, it can be beaten in an hour or two, but it was fun on the PSP.
Typical terrorist situation, 007. There's a bomb somewhere in the training area. You have to find it, equipped only with your laser watch and guns.
Whew, wow, that was something. So, the next Bond game we'll be covering actually won't be GoldenEye. I will be saving Pierce Brosnan's GoldenEye, Daniel Craig's GoldenEye, GoldenEye Source, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. I'll be saving all of those games for my last video in this marathon, basically contractually obligating myself to get these videos done. So the next Bond game we will look at is the 1999 video game adaptation of the film Tomorrow Never Dies. See you then.
James Bond.